Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Jeff Ahern Show. Hope you're having a great Friday. I'm having a pretty good Friday so far. Things are good. A little plug for later today. I will be on the OAN network on Rumble doing on a show at 3:15 Pacific time. So if you want to check it out, do some comedy, do some bits, have some fun. As always, you can hit me up at jeffahern.com as well. And what else? Cameo. Hit me up on Cameo. $30. I'll make fun of you. I don't even have to make fun of you. I could just, I don't know. I could say something nice. I'd rather make fun of you, but that's all right. Let's talk about the news. Get the morning voice. All right. Here we are, maybe. GOP lawmaker praised. Well, she's praised. Obviously, this is Fox News. CNN would not be praising a GOP lawmaker for dropping truth bomb about sex change operations in heated hearing. Yeah, I mean, the truth is, not everybody's happy with them. Yeah, there's some buyer's remorse some people have. Now that's never covered in the media, in the mainstream media, because it goes against the narrative. There's some people who've had the work done who wish they hadn't. And there's people who've had it done and they're happy with it. The fact that the media will only cover one particular group is telling. There's a lot of people who get this stuff done and then go, what the hell have I done? And then rightfully so want to sue the doctors and the school administrators and anybody else who allowed them to do it. Now I'm talking about, teenagers. I'm talking about kids who are just, led down this primrose path. You're all confused. You know what's going on. You're filled with angst. You're a kid. What's going to fix it? I'm looking for something to fix it. Drugs, alcohol. I know. I'll lop stuff off and pop stuff on. It doesn't work out well. I mean, you can always stop drinking, right? If your way of coping, your coping mechanism through high school or through adolescence is alcohol or drugs, you have the ability later on, when you see clearly, to stop doing alcohol or drugs, right? But if you had a sex change, there's no going back. You can't head back to the other team again. You're a mess. But hey, whatever. I'm just talking sense. All right. So so please speak some truth, because the liberals don't want to cover it because it goes against the narrative, and they don't deal in common sense. They deal in liberal logic. Anyway, right path forward. IRS whistleblower reacts. I just throw rejects in because anytime I see Hunter, I'm just like, just reject whatever it is. IRS whistleblower reacts to Hunter Biden's plea deal crumbling in court. Oh, that was so glorious. That cockamamie BS plea deal that was basically designed to insulate him from future charges, and more importantly, to insulate his father from future charges, fell apart in their face. And now everyone's getting in there and digging because there's so much information on all the corruption that's been going on. I mean, as a media, when you became a journalist, when you decided to, hey, I want to do the news, I want to tell people truth, you assume that was in there somewhere, the word truth. When you got into journalism, I want to share the truth. I want people to know the truth. I mean, I would assume that. Obviously, it's not true for the mainstream media, but I feel like maybe at the beginning, when they first started out, maybe it was. Maybe they had some ideals. Maybe they had some integrity. And I just wonder how long it took them to just completely sell all that out. How many, was it days? Was it weeks? A couple years before you just said, no, I'll just toe the company line. I'll read whatever script they hand me, and I'll just lie for a living in a suit or a skirt. Because there's literally this buffet of corruption, an all-you-can-eat buffet of corruption that is right in front of them. The proof is there. All they have to do is just pick up a handful of caviar, or whatever you want to call it, in terms of corruption, and share it. Share the truth with the world. Expose the corruption. But they don't. They won't even enter the room where the buffet is. They leave it to us. We'll take it. We'll report it. You won't, because you're not journalists. But anyway, it's still there. The buffet is still there. And people from outside, regular folk, are looking in the room going, hey, can I get a look at that? Can I get some of that? Oh, yeah, well, it'll be on the news tonight. Oh, what channel? Oh, the one people watch, Fox. It's the reason no one's watching CNN, MSNBC. The ratings are in the toilet. Advertisers are fleeing. It's because they don't cover the news. They cover narrative, and they cover up the actual news. So yeah, IRS whistleblower calls out Hunter Biden in new op-ed. Sweetheart deals shouldn't be handed out like candy. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Completely agree with that. But watch your back, bro. Oh, this guy. This guy. He's such a jackass. And I'm not talking about Hunter Biden. Just for the record. Where did he go? Oh, it's about to. I can still rag on him from afar, but I'll talk about it. There's a story on it. I hate when Fox sometimes just flips stories as I'm looking at them. And they're not there. Oh, here it is. I found it. They didn't flip stories. I don't know how to use a scrolling keypad. All right, here it is. Bud Light. There's no future. I got to agree with that. I 100% agree with that. Skunk beer. It is. It always kind of has been. Former executive Bud Light parent company doesn't mince words about CEO. And I've been saying this. I already know what he's going to say. I've been saying this from the get-go. The guy's got to leave. He's got to be thrown out. This jackass, this Bud Light CEO should be out of a job, should have been out of a job a long time ago. He is the reason. Dylan Mulvaney. No, it wasn't Dylan Mulvaney that tanked Bud Light. Yeah. I didn't think about it. I hate all Bud projects at this point. But yeah, it wasn't Dylan Mulvaney that tanked him. It was their reaction to Dylan Mulvaney that tanked them, or lack of reaction. All right, so you got Dylan Mulvaney. Hey, I got this trans guy, and let's insult our regular drinkers.
Are we insulting drinkers again? Stop insulting drinkers when I'm over here having Popeyes, which can sometimes be thought of as a stereotype, but I just got my DoorDash order of Popeyes. Hey, Jeff, I got a quick question for you.
Popeyes is good chicken. You can embrace that stereotype. That's some good chicken right there. Churches isn't bad either.
Yeah, they're all good. I sometimes get Popeyes, sometimes I get Bojangles. I have been to churches.
Bojangles? I never even knew there was such a thing.
There is a chain called Bojangles. Yes, it's I think a Southern fried or a Southern based chain, but yeah, Bojangles chicken, and it's got some good rice and good stuff. So you got to check them out.
I will check out next time I'm in the South. I will absolutely stop at a Bojangles.
Yeah, stop at a Bojangles. Have you stopped at a Zaxby's yet?
I think I have actually. Okay. I think that sounds familiar. The Bojangles didn't. Yeah. Because I spent a lot of time in the South, but I just somehow I miss Bojangles.
I don't know how you miss Bojangles. Bojangles is good. We got some good stuff in the South. I don't know if you've ever experienced cheer wine or some of the other things that are very much North Carolina based. But yeah, there's a thing called, it's a soda. It is called cheer wine. It's literally cheer like your cheerleader and wine, but it is a soda and all in that space. And then of course, many people know that Pepsi has some North Carolina roots and all along those lines. And of course, we got Coca-Cola and we've got
North Carolina people know that. Nobody else does.
That's true.
I had no idea. It's like a pride thing, community pride.
Community pride, state pride. We're proud of some of the things that we have created. But I had a question for you about politics, since we were talking about politics, and I had to wrap up something. But there is a thing that is going on in politics, and I know you're going to have some thoughts around this because it involves both a Democrat and a Republican, but there are some older folks that apparently are not that doing that well in terms of being coherent. So there was the incident with Mitch Connell, and then there was the recent incident with Dianne Feinstein, where she got to be prodded in her vote and everything. So we don't have too many old folks that are in politics, whether they're Republican or Democrat, that we need to have some sort of age limit or something going on.
Absolutely. Uniform cognitive test. That's it. You have to pass. It doesn't have to be incredibly difficult. We're not asking the world, but you got to have some basic. You got to be more than a drooling vegetable, Dianne Feinstein. And I mean, I'm sure she's a lovely lady, but she's not fit to serve. They just tell her to go yay, go nay. They have to wheel her into the Senate floor, and they just put her over the edge so she can say it, and then they drag her out before the reporters can get at her. I mean, it's a joke. And then Mitch McConnell, okay, that was a one-off, but if it becomes a theme, hey, kick him.
So what would the test be? I mean, are we going to ask them basic civics? Are we going to ask them to tell the difference between an orange and an apple? So what is the test going to be?
For Dianne Feinstein, orange and apple will be fine. I think she will fail that, and we can chuck her. For Mitch McConnell, you might have to add some more syllables to the questions and stuff. But I feel like McConnell's still all right. I feel like that could have been a one-off. Now, if that becomes a regular thing, like say a Fetterman or a Feinstein, then yeah, what the hell's he do? He's wasting our money. He's obviously just parroting something someone else is telling him. He's no longer has an independent mind, and he serves no legitimate function as his basic function and duty as a politician. He's not doing it, so he's got to go. Feinstein needs to be out now. Fetterman needs to be out now. Biden needs to be out now.
So I see this, and I see where you're going, but there's some Republicans I wondered about. Well, from a policy standpoint and everything. I'm thinking the test. I'm liking our test. So apple versus orange, you got to differentiate that. Watermelon versus cantaloupe, you got to be able to differentiate between those two. Lamp versus a regular light, you got to be able to differentiate between those two. I got a hard one that they may not get that well since they both begin with C and they're both a vegetable. But what are you thinking, Jeff? Can you tell the difference between a carrot and a celery?
Yeah, that one's gonna throw. I feel like we need 3 though. 50-50 seems too easy. They might keep their job because they guessed right. I feel like it should be a choice of 4. That's
so
really
all right. We can go down that path. Carrot, celery, or radish. They've got to pick all 3 of those.
Yeah, I'm solid with that.
And we can even go that with the orange and apple. So orange, apple, and grape.
That works too. Yeah, I think you gotta have at least 3. Hey, they still got a 30% chance, 33% chance, but at least 50-50 is too easy. That's just like flipping a quarter and see if you stay in office.
Yeah, maybe we'll start a conversation. So me and
I don't know, man. It's scary. Like Dianne Feinstein has no, and she's great as a Republican. I hope she stays forever because she gums up the works. She's so out of it. They have a hard time getting liberal judges installed because she goes to the hospital once in a while and they don't have enough votes without her. Or they got to get Kamala to come in and tie break.
Yeah, got to do the whole time break. I'm already worried because I just saw a newspaper article in my town, and apparently it is sparking community concern. And I can see why it would spark community concern because apparently there is the marketing of an energy drink that has been a high concern recently with government officials in New York asking the Food and Drug Administration to investigate prime energy drinks. But here in Durham, North Carolina, a different drink is sparking calls to action. It is one that the FDA already had on its radar, and the concern comes from its brand name. So are you ready for the brand name of this particular drink and everything?
Probably not. What is it?
I don't think you're ready for it. Apparently it's being sold at local compare stores, and people thought it was a joke, but it's named after a destructive drug that is sold in the world and in the U.S. But apparently there is a drink out there that is literally called cocaine.
It's just sad.
There is sad. It was launched in 2006, so it's been out there for a while. So when cocaine energy was launched in 2006, it was marketed as, are you ready for this? Speed in a can, liquid cocaine, and had a disclaimer that said it may result in excess excitement, stamina, fun, and a possible feeling of euphoria. After less than a year of the product being on the shelf, the FDA sent Redux Beverages, now Hype Beverages, a letter stating it was advertising cocaine energy as an illicit street drug alternative, and that type of marketing was illegal. And at that time, co-founder Hannah Kirby told the news outlets the name and branding were meant to be tongue-in-cheek and that they hope to set it apart from other products. So they have not responded by the deadline to the news observers, but apparently they were saying that they were doing this tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, of course they were. That's what their lawyers told them to say. They're scumbags. I don't like people like that. Just like, let's promote drugs. And then, if people actually somehow get into drugs or we make glamorized drugs, people get in, that's collateral damage. What do we care? I'll be on my yacht. Probably doing coke.
No, actually, I know this lady. She's the
those guys.
Somebody that's done some stuff in our community. A lady named Wanda Boone, but she's the founder of a group called Together for Resilient Youth, which is a Durham-based coalition that works to prevent chronic abuse and substances and violence among young people. But even energy drinks, and I'm not gonna lie, I try to avoid them, but I might have had one. I've got friends that are regularly using them and everything.
Energy drinks,
according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, children ages to 12 to 18 shouldn't have more than 100 milligrams of caffeine per day. A typical can of soda has 30 to 40 milligrams of caffeine, so you pretty much shot that if you had 2 or 3 cups of soda. Coffee has about 95 milligrams, so it only takes 1 cup pretty much to get the average. And a standard 12-ounce can of cocaine energy has 280 milligrams. So they've tripled the amount.
It's just brutal. Yeah, brutalizes your body. It tears you up. I mean, and they have no conscience about what they're doing to people. They just don't care. It's all about the money to them. It's a game. They're scumbags. I don't like people like that. I just don't. They just don't care about anybody but themselves, and they market this stuff, and they get people, thinking, oh, it's cool, or drugs are cool, and then this crap that they're giving them in these cans is eating them up inside, anyways, tearing them to pieces. The stomach lining, and not a fan. Not a fan, man.
And apparently Compare Foods, which is part of the Aurora grocery store, has 24 Hispanic grocery stores in North Carolina, Massachusetts, and the tri-state area. So I guess that would be New York, New Jersey, and I forgot what the third state is, and all in that space. But they are definitely, sounds like, targeting the Black and brown community. And apparently here in North Carolina, when one of our local papers went and investigated, they looked at the BP, they looked at the Food Line, they looked at Food World, they looked at Whole Foods. Nobody was carrying this particular product except for, of course, Compare Foods. So Compare Foods was carrying it. And I guess they were targeting that Hispanic market.
Garbage human beings, just don't care. They just, I don't like them. I don't care for these people, Mark. They make me angry. What's wrong with the world? Give back, you scumbags.
I do have to teach you. We're gonna get up to that for a second, but I just had to bring that up and everything. But yeah, the cocaine drink. We'll get up to cocaine drink, but I'm just scared of that. That's just crazy and everything. But your favorite person. What's up? Are we gonna stop seeing charges? Because apparently they've got new charges on Trump, and apparently they are.
No, they'll never stop. This is their game. They can't beat him legitimately. They cannot beat the man legitimately. So they have to cheat. They have to lie. They have to steal. They have to do whatever they can possibly do to somehow impeach, to somehow prevent him and the will of Americans from him taking office again. So these things are never going to end. They're just going to keep throwing them out. But the more they throw them out, the more meaningless they become. It's like, oh, an indictment, 17 indictment. Really? It's like, it waters them all down, and it just makes them more popular because people see what's happening. DeSantis was in the lead. DeSantis was starting to pull away a little, and then Alvin Bragg came in, nailed him with that first indictment, and then Trump exploded. And then every other indictment, it's not as big, I don't think, as the Bragg one, because it was so obviously corrupt. And these other ones feel just like whatever. But each one just keeps growing them. Every time it's like they're just putting Miracle Grow all over the man, and they think they're doing a service to the Democrat Party by squashing Americans' free speech and voting rights and all that. They're creating this juggernaut.
It is a juggernaut. And speaking of the juggernaut, apparently DeSantis is restructuring his campaign and trying to find some way to get some energy. He's even got people in his own party that are not thrilled with some of the comments that he made, because I know there was a whole conversation around slavery and whether slavery was good for African Americans that even Tim Scott has pushed back on him about, and that is definitely somebody that is running.
Yeah, one of the comments I read, I was just like, ugh. I'm like, I pull that one out. That's not a good one. But yeah, I think he's got to, unless something happens and Trump actually gets legitimately indicted, he's kind of done, because the Democrats are behind Trump. They don't unwittingly behind Trump, but they keep pushing him higher and higher over DeSantis. I mean, to the point where DeSantis is going to have a hard time catching up.
You think he's going to drop out?
The Democrats are doing it. The Democrats
are going to drop out before Labor Day?
What's that?
You think he's going to drop out before Labor Day?
Probably have to look at the numbers. I mean, he's not a stupid guy. He can always run again. If he sees, and the Democrats are going to keep dropping, indictments on Trump, and that's just going to grow Trump again. So eventually Trump's going to be this big balloon in the sky, and DeSantis are going to be waving. I'm like, wait till next year, or 4 years from now. I mean, he's not a dummy. DeSantis is a very smart guy, so he'll pick and choose his times. And if he doesn't see an avenue to victory, which thanks to the Democrats is getting slimmer and slimmer as they basically reelect Donald Trump. I don't know. At some point, he's got to be like, okay, yeah, we'll call it and we'll come back. But in the end, it's the Democrats that are going to get Trump elected.
Hey, I just learned something new. I was looking up the news, and I hear what you're saying about that. This is about work life and everything, but apparently managers in the work environment are saying 9 to 5 is dead because workers want to clock off early to run errands. So I guess we're creating this period that's like 4 to 6 p.m., which is like a dead zone to fit in COVID era habits of like school runs and gym sessions and running errands and a number of other things. But is that something you're seeing out there in California where people are leaving early because they are, I guess, being permitted to, so they can run these various errands? Because I never heard of this new trend, but apparently it's a new trend that Fortune reported on. So is that something you're seeing out there where folks are like, nah, I can't work till 5. I got to get off at 3 because I got to take care of this and that.
That's California now. That's the way California's been forever. You get on a highway in California, you get on after 2:30 in the afternoon, it's already jammed. Well, where are all these people coming from? They're leaving work. Whatever willy-nilly time that is. Obviously around 3, that highway's full, and it's not people running errands because they know better than to get on the highway after 3. It's all people leaving work.
Are they running errands? Are they running errands in an electric vehicles? The other article I said, because apparently Ford Motor Company turned heads in March when it predicted that its electric vehicle push could lose as much as $3 billion this year. Now the company is expected to lose even more money from EVs thanks to a slower than expected adoption of the new battery powered vehicle. So Ford is now forecasting that its electric vehicle division will lose $4.5 million this year, the U.S. automaker announced on Thursday. So the division called Ford Model E has already shed about $1.8 billion in 2023 so far. So these folks aren't exactly migrating to these electric vehicles.
No, people you got the early adopters, you got the greens, you got people who want EVs. They bought their EVs already. So now everybody else, it's arm twisting. They might get it, they might not, but so now, of course, the Biden administration has to force them because that's what they do. They don't want you to have free will. They don't want you to have just be able to decide something on your own. So they allow fuel prices to keep increasing. They're up around 5 something a gallon here, and they do that by closing down the pipelines, not allowing new drilling, giving refineries a hard time about refining. And then so what do? Now we got to go over and buy oil from our enemies, which funds wars in places like Ukraine. But it was Biden care. It's all about the green energy. And it's just a disaster, a self-created disaster by a buffoon. And if people crap on Trump, if Trump was in power right now, if he was president right now, the fuel price would probably be here about $3 a gallon. And that'd be mostly taxes, because he would be, sourcing it out local, and there wouldn't be as much problems overseas with our enemies because they wouldn't have all the money that we give them for oil. This makes me crazy.
But we've been giving money from both Democrats and Republicans for oil for years because, a lot of times the whole oil conversation is around the strategic alliances that we have, whether that is with Saudi Arabia, or whether that is with Israel, or whether that is with others that are oil-producing countries. And when they played that game with us, we got mad because I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but decades ago, there was a country in South America that it was definitely run, and I would not say that he was not a dictator. Anybody that knows the politics of Venezuela knows dictators when they see them. But one of the things that he did that I will give, that I thought was a slick move from that standpoint, is he went into the inner city and tried to win over some support from some of the inner city folks in like Detroit and other places by giving them breaks in their oil and all along those lines. And that was when the president of like 2 or 3 back in Venezuela was in charge. But that was a brilliant move from a tactical standpoint.
Citgo, I think, right? Citgo's the Venezuelan gas station, if I'm not mistaken. 100% on that.
Yeah, I think it is. I think you might be right. But but that was like one of those brilliant moves that they did. So we get mad at other folks when they do what we do as well. So sometimes they learn from us and try to reverse the tactic on us as well.
All we're doing is just giving money away and then making everybody pay more. And the whole end game is to get people on these electric cars. And then when you get to the real hot months, then there's going to be all these rolling blackouts, because not only do you have people who want to survive by having AC, but now you got all these dummies who can't go anywhere because they can't charge your stupid electric car. And I have no problem with electric. I like electric cars. They're nice, but let them come into the market as people want them, as the market, incentivizes them to be affordable enough to purchase. The average electric vehicle is like 60 grand. You'll never make your money back off of a like a 30K, 35K, which I think is the average gas vehicle over the life of that vehicle. It's absurd, but they keep twisting your arm, so you have to get it. I'm tired of my free will and my free choice being taken away by the left.
But speaking of free will, it is not just the left, because sometimes the free will is taken by a variety of folks that are taking the different things away, because there is a country that is an ally of the United States. We can only say that it has been an ally for a while. I know people that have even moved there and even worked there. And some folks that have considered being that like their permanent home that they would like to move to. But I'm thinking, and I've never experienced with this particular drug, I actually try to avoid drugs altogether, but definitely from what I know of certain drugs, there is a certain amount that doesn't sound like that much. But like I said, what do I know? I've never dealt with the thing. But they just recently in Singapore, that's the country that I'm talking about, hung a woman in 19 years after she was convicted of trafficking 31 grams of heroin. Like, I don't know anything about weight and everything, but that doesn't sound like a lot compared.
There's psychos over there, like Singapore, like that's where they had that caning all those years back. That, I mean, just the fact that they have a caning, who the hell canes people? I wouldn't go to Singapore. I'd be scared. I would, that's the extreme.
Yeah, that is very much the extreme. And, to execute somebody, and they didn't just execute her, they hung her for 31 grams. That is barbaric.
That's insane. I mean, that's just awful.
That is
Singapore got to get their S together, man. But I mean, that could just as easily happen here. When you give complete control over to the government, they could kind of do whatever weird, wacky crap they want to. Just the crimes might be different.
Yeah, the crimes might be.
Maybe you like the Trump video, and so you're going to get caned now because the left is so authoritarian. But they already were able to share basic information online.
Yeah, that's true. That basic information, but both the left and the right be trying to hide some basic information. But I also be sometimes wondering when we be finding things that are out there forever and it takes forever to find, because I think they recently found the body of somebody that had been lost on one of the mountains recently, and that was back in 1986, and they just recently discovered their body and all along those lines. And then I just saw in one of these other articles something that was discovered after 2,000 years. I'm going like, it took you 2,000 years, but apparently it was an ancient wreck that they found of an ancient Roman cargo ship that was found off the coast near Rome. So they found it was carrying hundreds of jars, and it is an ancient 2,000-year-old shipwreck.
That's pretty cool.
How do you find a shipwreck 2,000 years later? And why did they find it way before 2,000 years? Where was this ship hiding? Where exactly was going on 2,000 years ago?
I don't know. It's like one of those places nobody was even looking. Like, it was like probably not traveled. It was either traveled way too much or traveled not at all. Like, no one paid any attention to it.
Well, apparently that's what happened to the Swiss Alps. That was the other one that I was referring to. I knew it was something, but yeah, the remains of a climber who went missing in 1986. So we're talking, what's that? Oh, that's a long time ago and everything. So we're talking almost 40 years ago that they just found the body after it was recovered on a glacier in the Swiss Alps. So it took them almost 40 years to find this missing climber's body, some 37
climbers,
years ago.
They go missing forever. Like, you got to just, even if you stumble on them, like people will just, you've seen the Everest videos, people just walk over the dead. They're not checking them for ID or nothing. They're just, they're on their way to get to the mountain. And half of them, once they wind up under the snow or ice, you're not going to see them until it melts, whenever that is. And again, even then, you if you're climbing in the death zone, you just walk over them.
What's the one that? What's the spy that disappeared? And folks are still trying to figure out. He's like Hoffa. They're still trying to figure out where exactly Hoffa's body is, but they're also trying to figure out if was it Gary U.S. Bonds? I think it was, or something like that. But he just kind of like jumped off into a mountain and nobody ever found him. So there's all kinds of
DB Cooper.
That's the one. Thank you.
Yeah, I love DB Cooper. I don't know what happened to him. Yeah, he jumped out. He hijacked, got some money, hijacked the plane, got some money, and parachuted out, and no one knows what the hell happened to him.
We have somebody like that. I was always bringing up my Durham people, but there was a known drug runner and all in that space. He was arrested, served some time, and then he just mysteriously disappeared. You ask his family members, and they won't say whether he was right by now. He'd be very much old, and he probably has passed anyway. But there are a lot of folks that were like, he was probably still around, and there's always those reports of him still being around because he just kind of like disappeared and mysteriously disappeared. So nobody has ever said where he might be or might not be. But then, Jeff, we still got folks to this day that even though that happened a long time ago, I know my grandmother was living, so that was at least probably 40 years ago when Elvis passed. But you still got people that are saying that they're running into Elvis and Michael Jackson and others in the grocery store and everything. So go ahead and admit it. You ran into Prince and Michael Jackson in that grocery store in LA. Just go ahead and admit it to make it part of your campaign, because I know you ran into him.
Prince is my vice presidential candidate.
Oh, that's right. You're running for president. So that's going to be your, hey, the scary thing is that if you made him your vice presidential candidate because he is so popular, you would probably win, even if he was the vice president.
I'm representing. I'm representing even now, Mark. I got the purple.
You got the purple, but I'm thinking that, you could run. There is no rules that I'm aware of. I mean, there are age requirements, but there are no rules that I'm aware of that the vice president could not be a hologram. So we could make Prince the holographic vice president.
Day and age, people will vote for anything in this day and age. So yeah, if you get hologram Prince and hologram Elvis and package them as a team, people will vote for them.
I'm telling you, this is the chicken. I'm liking this, Jeff. I'm liking this chicken. The Jeff Ahern and the hologram of Prince. Because Prince is still incredibly popular. I know both women and men that still love their Prince, still love their purple. So I'm thinking that this
hardcore.
Could be valid vice presidential candidates. I think that you could win lots of votes I'm thinking if you came out with like 1999 as your theme song.
And that's a great one too. So many good songs.
Yeah. I'm liking this campaign strategy.
Yeah, me too. Hey, Mark, I gotta cut out a little early today because I'm doing a report on OAN for Rumble. I'm going to be a guest. So I
have to thank you for something before you cut
please. out.
I have to thank you because I have also signed up and was accepted. Now I just got to figure out which to get a phone that actually works. But I did sign up and was accepted, as was a friend. So I've referred now. There are two people that are on Cameo. So I did not know about Cameo until you told me about Cameo. And I've also told a friend. So I have a Cameo account. Now I just got to figure out how to make the Cameo account work and actually make some money.
It's easy. It's easy. Yeah, you just follow. They make it simple. You just follow the bouncing ball, and then So I did my first one, and it was fun. It's easy. You just do it on the phone. Like I'm like, oh, I got to get all this raised. Like no, you just press the record, and then if you like it, you keep it. And if you don't, you delete it until you find what you like. Like okay.
Well, I will keep that in mind because I now have a Cameo account. It was all because of Jeff that I got that because I was like, hey, I have a decent voice. I could do that as well.
Yeah, get on that, man. That's awesome. Maybe I'll get a Cameo.
I want to thank you for that and everything. That you got an engagement coming up, and of course we'll probably go out with your sponsor. That's what I'm looking for.
Yes, please, Jeremy's Razors. I can't think of any other plugs, but good. That's some good news, man. Well, if you want a discount, you can do a combo. Get me and Mark together.
Yes,
we'll cut you a deal.
Yes, exactly. Cool. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Hope I didn't cut in too much, but I just
I love talking to you. It's a good time, man.
Cool. Well, I'm going to cut off, let you do your clothes and everything, but I'm not going to go out and get I got some tea and some other drinks. And of course, I got my Popeye's chickens, but I'm not going out and get the cocaine energy drink. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
No more cocaine energy drink. Well, have a great week, everybody. Weekend. And we'll get the plugs out of the way. So yeah, hit me or Mark up now on Cameo. Or if you really want, go for a 2 and we'll cut you a discount. How about that? And Jeremy's Razors. Check me out today at 3:15 on OAN Network on Rumble, doing a guest spot there. And I think that's it. There's probably more, but I've forgotten it. But have a great weekend, everyone. God bless you, and love each other for the love of God. All right, bye, Mark. Have a great weekend, buddy. Hello and welcome to Newsday with Jeff Ahern. I'm your host, Jeff Ahern. Today's top story. Remember Harry's Razors, the company that stopped advertising with the Daily Wire after hearing something as innocuous as boys are boys and girls are girls? They called it inexcusable. Look, I know you're a grooming company, but you don't have to take the grooming part quite so literally. I'm surprised their razors don't come with a rainbow handle and a discount code for a sex change, especially after deciding to put their emphasis on pandering over product. But credit where credit is due. Their product is great at exfoliating. It exfoliated conservative customers right off of their balance sheet, taking a straight razor to profits and leaving a once loyal customer base with a really bad case of razor burn. And for what? Not being in lockstep with leftist wokeism? This has to be the greatest shaving blunder since someone gave Sweeney Todd a chair at the local barbershop. But who can blame Harry's Razors for buckling under the pressure of a Twitter user's complaints? I mean, this guy had 2 followers. Look out, Kim Kardashian. Here comes what's his face. And I bet one of his followers was probably trying to sell him crypto. Harry's claimed they were pulling their ads due to a values misalignment. What values? Woke grandstanding? Progressive preening? All you did with this woke publicity stunt was make your entire company as disposable as your razors. Because there's a new shave in town, Jeremy's Razors. Because I don't want another woke lecture. I want a tungsten handle, flip back trimmer, shave fit for a man. Blades sharp as truth that cut through bearded stubble like common sense cuts through liberalism. A razor for deep shaving deplorables, for flyovers with facial hair. A man's razor from a company still willing to admit there's such a thing as a man. Let Harry's go in on the trans market. I guess they figure those guys are going to shave more than most people anyways. Especially if they want to appear even remotely feminine. I mean, it's bad enough you're going to break every female sports record while sporting male genitalia. So why do you got to rub it in sporting a 5 o'clock shadow? It's time to take a stand against woke cancel culture with a great clean shave. And don't forget to lather up with Jeremy's shaving cream before you do. Made with green tea oil to calm irritation and reduce redness. Almond oil, which creates a cushion for your blade. And cocoa butter, which reduces bumps. All available at jeremy'srazors.com. Go there right now and use promo code Ahern15 to get 15% off your next purchase. Stick it to the man, or whatever Harry's identifies as. So head over to jeremy'srazors.com and tell them Jeff sent you.